Hey there, record collectors. I'd like to share with you yet another lesser known Canadian band from the late 70s, a progressive rock act out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Another roadside attraction. This is their only LP. It was produced and financed by the band on a private label. We've got David Dobko on keyboards, Armin Leonardo on keyboards, Paul Sanders vocals, and Michael Grace percussion. There's no guitars on this LP from what I understand. Any bass lines, I presume, would be played through the keyboard. Very much in the same vein as Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Triumvirate, bands like that from the 70s. However, this is later 70s, and there were several bands that were keyboard driven out of the Toronto area. True Myth is another one that comes to mind. There were several others. I guess Symphonic Slam would be another progressive band from the Toronto area, FM, that sort of thing. These guys really had potential, and I mean, I can remember when I was in Toronto, they never performed live, but I can remember reading about them in various articles in the newspaper and music-related magazines. There was quite a buzz about this band, but nothing really took off. I'll show you a little libretto sort of insert that came with the LP, and it kind of goes into a little history on each member. Dave Dobko, the pianist, he holds an ARCT from the Royal Conservatory. I believe that's in Banff, Alberta. It also says that he gained a lot of respect from fellow Canadian musicians, but also aroused the interest of Keith Emerson, with whom he had had a growing correspondence throughout the last several years. And this is back in '79 this was written. And the other keyboardist, Armin Leonardo, he's also classically trained. What do we see here? Michael Grace is the drummer. And Paul Sanders, kind of interesting here. He's been on the scene in music industry since the late 1960s. It says here somewhere that he performed in the musical Hair, in the Royal Alexandria Theatre's production of Hair. He spent another 2 years in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, California area touring as King Herod in the original Jesus Christ Superstar. Then he returned back to Canada. So yeah, he's the vocalist here. I guess his vocals, you know, nothing special. I guess he helps carry the band somewhat. I would prefer more instrumental stuff than to hear his voice. It's not irritating. It's somewhere in the gray area between irritating and tolerable, I guess. It's a desired listen for sure, I guess, in some regards. But I mean, with regards to progressive rock, I mean, I've heard far worse. David Surkamp from the band Pavlov's Dog comes to mind. That's far worse, but yeah, you know what? Some people might really like it. So anywho, now another cool insert that came with the LP was this small poster, black and white photos depicting the band in clown makeup in various poses, taken around the Toronto area. And the band's moniker, their name, another roadside attraction, was lifted from a novel by Tom Robbins. Also here amongst the inserts is this letter that was written by Dave Dobko to the Scarborough Energy Conservation Center. And in here, I guess he's trying to promote their effort. He must have sent them a copy of the LP with this letter attached. And in the second paragraph, it says, "I am leaving shortly for Nassau to see what kind of response Keith Emerson might be able to generate for us with his contacts in the U.S." So yeah, he did have some ties to Keith Emerson for a while. And I guess he was hoping that he might help jumpstart their career and break them onto the scene outside of Canada, or outside of Ontario, Canada. Sadly, that never happened. And also some photocopies of a couple of articles from the Toronto Star. Peter Goddard wrote that one. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So there really isn't a label or release label per se. I mean, nothing appears on here other than the band name and their abbreviation ARA or acronym. Couple things down there: produced and arranged by Another Roadside Attraction, publishing and copyright spring 1979, and it was recorded at Sky Blue Studio in Toronto, which was a small 8-track recording studio. I doubt that it exists anymore. So I think what I'm going to play is the opening cutoff side to The Maze. It's kind of a nice piano, synthesizer, organ, progressive number. Just get things underway here. There we go.